Unit 1, Topic 2 notes. I can interpret a stem and leaf plot. This stem and leaf plot shows the number of cents in a student's piggy bank. So a stem and leaf plot, as you saw in the Explore video, is a table-like graph that blocks things into a stem and a leaf. Now the stem, unless otherwise noted, there'll usually be a key at the bottom of a stem and leaf plot saying how to interpret it. But if there is no key, then it's normally interpreted as the stem is the tens digit and the leaf is the ones digit. So if we're thinking about the number 27, 2 is the tens digit and 7 is the ones digit. So it's a way of organizing data that way. So to read this stem and leaf plot, if we have a 0 in the tens digit, then these are just 1 numbers. They don't have a tens value, so this would represent the numbers 4, 5, and 7. For the next column, the next row, we have 1 for our tens value. We have 2 3s, so we have 2 13s, 1 3, 1 3. Then we have 2 and 5, which represents 25. We have 3 and 0, which is 30, and then we have 3 and 1, which is 31. Then we have some blank ones, which just means no response, which means there's no numbers in the 40s, the 50s, or the 60s. And then there is this number in the 70s of 75. So it would be like an outlier. It's really far away from all the data that is currently on that table. So using this stem and leaf plot that we just looked at in the last slide, we're going to identify some data points. First off, we want the maximum, that biggest number, which is going to be all the way at the bottom of our table, which is 75. Then we want the minimum, that very smallest number, which is going to be the very first number, which is 4. Now we want the range, and the range reminder is the maximum number subtracted by the minimum number. So in this case, it would be 75 take away 4, which equals 71. So our range of numbers that we have in our table are 71 numbers. Next, we want the mode, which is the number that we see the most often. So did we have any repeat numbers? The only repeated number we had was right here in our tens, which was 13 and 13. So that is going to be the mode. That's the number that appears the most often. Next, we have the median number. The median number is that number in the middle. So for this case, we're only going to focus on the leaf, and we're going to cross off the numbers back and forth until we hit the middle. So every other, we're going to go up, down, and so we get to that 3. Now we're going to bring that stem back into play because that is part of the number, which means our median is 13. Next, we have the number of people surveyed. The number of people surveyed is just how many numbers do we have in the graph. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 total numbers, 9 people surveyed. Next, we want to determine the mean, which is the average, which means we're going to take every number in our stem and leaf plot. We're going to add them all up. We're going to add up all the numbers, and then we're going to divide it by the total number of people surveyed, which is 9. So, got my calculator here. We're going to take our numbers that we have. So we'll start with that 4, 5, and 7. And then we'll add to that 2 13s. Add to that a 25, a 30, and a 31. And then add to that 75. And then divide that by 9. And that gives us 22.5 repeating. So we can put 22.5. And if we just put that line over the top, that does mean 25. Oh, excuse me. I think it was 22.5 repeating. My apologies. 22.5 repeating. Or you can just round it to 22.56. Either answer is acceptable. And then lastly, we have that outlier. Outlier means it doesn't look like it belongs in the data set. It's really far away from everything else, and that would be that 75, that number that's really separated from everything else. Last piece, we are going to create our own stem and leaf plots. We have this data for our stem, and we're always just going to start by putting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to stop at 5 because I don't see any numbers bigger than 40 in the 40s, so we won't have anything in the 50s. So then we just need to put our numbers in there. So we have 26, so that's going to put a 6 here in our leaf. 37, we'll put a 7 here. 48, we'll put an 8 here. 33, we have a 3 here. 49, we put a 9 here. 26, we put another 6 there. 19, going to put a 9 by the 1. 26, we'll put another 6 there. And then 48, we'll put an 8 here. Now, the one piece that we must then do after that is we have to put everything from least to greatest. So we always want the numbers to go from least to greatest in our stem and leaf plot. So if we look here, 1, 9, that's the only one we have available, so that one's good. 26, they're all 6s, so that's okay. 3, we have a 7 and we have a 3. So in that case, we're going to want to flip those around to be a 3 and then a 7. And then the last one we have 8, 9, 8. So we're just going to want to flip around those last two and make that 8, 8, 9 to make sure our numbers are all in order from least to greatest. That is your lesson on creating and identifying key points in a stem and leaf plot. So now you can go ahead and move into the practice problems to try it on your own.